influence, but it's Gary Keller, which is a very respected leader in our industry. And I read his book, and when I tell you I read his book, man, I mean, I had a studio upstairs at my old house. I had a studio, and I just locked myself in the room every day, started taking notes. Boom, this is what I need to do. This is before I even took my exam. And I was like, and I ended up going to my wife, and I was like, babe, I think I could do this. And she's like, mind you, at this point, I have 3 kids. I got a mortgage. My wife isn't in her profession yet either. And we're trying to figure out, it's my income. Like, what the hell?
Right.
It's on me, me feeling like a man. And I was like, this is a big risk for me. And I was like, you know what? Because when I got the offer letters from the job, and I looked at it, and it was like 40,000, 38,000. And I was like,
right.
Bruh.
Right.
I was like, nah, man, I can't do this no more. I can't do that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna join in the real estate. And then
you are now listening to the Your First Steps podcast. It's great to talk about $1 million dreams, but where do we start? How do we get there? Listen up as you hear directly from real estate industry leaders on how they reach success in their fields. And most importantly, what were their first steps? Let's get this party started. Here's your host, Eli the Real Estate Guy.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Your First Steps podcast. This is Eli the Real Estate Guy. And when you're talking about leadership, when you're talking about work-life balance, and just overall being a leader in the community and to his family, we have an amazing guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, Omar Cotto. Omar, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. And I'm honored that you even thought about me for this. So thank you for the invite, bro. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. And thank you for coming on. So first, for the people that may not know who you are, introduce yourself and let the people know who you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone. All the First Step family. My name is Omar Cotto. I am a real estate associate broker with Coldwell Banker here in beautiful Central Florida. I've been a realtor for the last 7 years. Practitioner. I'm also an investor, and I also am a landlord. So I do a couple other things. I'm also still an active Florida Army National Guard member. I'm actually commander 1st of 265th Air Defense Artillery right now. So I mean, that's what I do. That's what I got going on.
Gotcha. All right, awesome. So just to kind of let you guys know how Omar and I met, we actually went to school together at UCF many moons ago. And overall, just it was great being in the same class with him, and we kept each other's contact information over time. And we recently reconnected again off of a couple years ago on social media. We kind of messaged each other from afar, but then we reconnected on Clubhouse. And that's where we started a group called Treadmill Talk, to where we would meet just about every single morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, Central, 6 o'clock Eastern. And we talk about personal, professional, and fitness goals and how we can hold each other accountable. And it just started off with us two. But as time went on, people would just start, coming into the room. The Omar was able to really change a lot of people's lives and be a great influence on a lot of people. So it's great to have him here and really, share some of his knowledge and experience and life experience. So one, I know right now you're a broker, say landlord, you're a real estate investor and all these other things. But before you got to that point, what was it like growing up in the Cotto household? What was it like being a child as you were growing up?
Yeah, so we'll take it back. I'm Puerto Rican. I was born in Puerto Rico, Caguas, Puerto Rico, to be exact. But I'm from Ceiba, for those Puerto Ricans who know where that's at. My mother was in the military. And my dad, they both met in ROTC together. My dad didn't end up commissioning, but my mom did. She became a commissioned officer. And the early part of my life was basically spent in Puerto Rico. And then I moved to North Carolina to be closer to my mom's work. She was in the military at that time, Fayetteville. Puerto Rico to Fayetteville, and then in 1992, I moved here to Orlando, Florida. Matter of fact, we moved to the old naval base, which is now Baldwin Park, one of the premier neighborhoods in Orlando.
Wow.
Um,
I didn't know that.
and we moved from there. Early on, I wasn't rich by no means. I lived in an apartment off Powell Branch in 436. My mom later got a house by the time I was in high school. She got her first house by my freshman year. I got my first room by the time I was ninth grade, 10 by 10. But man, I just told the story the other day. I was ashamed to bring people over because of how, I went to Winter Springs High School, and it's not rich. Now looking at my eye, it's not rich, but I didn't feel like we were that accomplished or that well off. So I never invited people over to the house. I was always out and about. I was, with some of their other crowds. So, but yeah, after that, I graduated from Winter Springs High School. I joined the Florida Army National Guard. 9/11 happened. 9/11 happened, and I said, I want to join and go kill some bad guys.
Okay. Nice.
I know it's such a weird reaction. I don't know. I saw my mom in uniform. I was already in JROTC. I was very successful in that front. I played baseball growing up, so I was athletic. And I was like, I'm going to go kill some bad guys. I wanted to stay home. I was very money centric. And, the decision making as a young man is always weird, right? You just make rash decisions. Well, that rash decision is, I mark 20 years here. I think, what's today, 23rd? So in 2 more days, we'll mark 20 years I've been in the Florida Army National Guard.
Whoa,
so
awesome. Congratulations on that. That is awesome, man. Awesome.
Appreciate it, bro. I mean, I did a big once over of where I came from, and, there's a lot more to it, but that's the early parts of my life there.
Gotcha. Good deal. So I was going to get into what motivated you to be in the military, but I guess that came from your mom, just seeing her in uniform and how that impacted you guys' life. So what about her being in the military caused you to say, you know what, this is it? Or was it solely the background of seeing her do that, and then when 9/11 happened, that was like, okay, this is my cue?
That's a good question. My son he's in high school. He just joined JRTC, and I wonder why. I wonder if he joined because he's seen me in uniform, and he probably did because he wears my dog tags every day. I think I felt like I could do better than my mother. I looked at my mom and I was like, I could do better. You did that, I could do that better. Right. So the reason I joined was very dumb. There was a kid I used to look up to when I was younger. I don't even remember the kid's name, but I remember like he did something like jump over a car hood, and I was like, man, that guy's awesome. I'm like, hey, what'd you do? He goes, I'm in JRTC. I'm like, people in JRTC can just jump over vehicles. I don't know. I was just thinking.
Gotcha.
I was thinking very dumb, but that led me into JROTC, and I was in band, I was in baseball, I was in JROTC all at the same time. And JROTC, I ended up being really, really freaking good at it, man. When I mean good, I mean I got like 20 something trophies. I mean, they're all up in my attic. My wife hates them. I was a state champion. I went to nationals. I mean, I fell in love with military culture. It came secondhand. It was like nothing. It was like, hey, I knew all the ranks really quickly. I knew all the terrain features. You name anything that had to do with military, I knew it relatively quickly.
Gotcha. And so when it came to you saying like, ranks and all that stuff, how can you be good at JROTC? What are like, is that basically what it is? Like memorization and I guess athletic competitions and things like that?
Yeah. So a lot of athletics, we did summer camps. We did camps with, I remember that's the first time I shot a shotgun, the first time I shot a rifle. My discipline was on point. Learning the facing movements, your command voice was really big. Like, hey, being able to talk with inflection, things like that.
Gotcha. And that's part of your ranking is the inflection in your voice?
Give me 1 second, because my baby's here.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Let's bring her on.
Come here, Phoenix. Let me see here real quick. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all good.
Gotcha.
There she go. Hey, how you doing, Phoenix?
This is my little 3-year-old
Awesome.
making a cameo appearance.
There you go.
But yeah, I ended up like, I was super good at, everybody. It was this inherent thing of leadership, influence on others. Other people saw it at the time. I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that, people kind of gravitated to the way I operated and yada, yada. I don't know. I just know when I had ability of influencing people and people followed when I did things. I know that's such a weird thing to say out loud even when I'm saying it, but I knew I was kind of good at that. I was like, hey, every time, like on my baseball team, I was the team captain. If on, in band, I was first chair and I got all the people riled up. When we went to camps, I was always the one that people circled around. And I was like, hey, let's do this. And everybody just ended up doing that.
Gotcha.
It's such a weird thing, but I ended up knowing I was good at that. So when I told people I think about joining the military, they were like, yup, that makes perfect sense.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. So as you join the military, you're there for a while. And obviously now you have, a family. So what was that transition from joining the military to eventually, having a family? And what was that process like for you?
It was a long time. So I joined in 2002. We can go super deeper than that, but it took me several years to become a good family man. Matter of fact, I wasn't a good family man until my kids started getting older. So that's different. I just started, I started living life. I got enlisted. I ended up, I got back from basic training. I tried to start college. When I met you, I think I met you like in 2011, maybe 2012.
Something like that.
That's
Yeah.
not right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was like my second or third time at trying to get in college, because the first time I had to stop. The hurricanes came in 2004. I had to go and do some things for that.
Gotcha.
And then in 2005, Afghanistan popped off, and I left for like a year and a half to go to Afghanistan.
Wow.
And then I tried to come back. And then in 2009, 2010, into 2011, I went to Iraq and Kuwait. So all these things started to kind of compound itself in between my military service. I didn't know what I wanted to be yet. I was doing things like, I was an IT guy. I was kind of in the software, in the computer space, because I was a communications expert as an enlisted man in the Army or in the National Guard.
Gotcha. And so as you're doing that, so were you thinking that you're going to be in the IT space like eventually, or what was your thought process as that was going on?
That's a good question. So yeah, what's crazy? I was a commo guy, what they call commo guy. I got really good at it. I got good at radios. Here, say bye, Phoenix. Say bye. My wife is going to pick up
All right.
my daughter. Here you go, baby. Yeah, so that's part of my life, having kids.
Yeah, there you go.
She ended up being sick. But anyways, so yeah, I thought about getting my A+, my M+. I don't know if people are going to be bored by this, but
No, go for it.
CCNA, all the things that had to do with the communication. I thought, at that time was, what's going to make me the most amount of money? And I heard that you could get in the networks and it can make you the most amount of money. Hey, if you learn about computers, I didn't know specifics. I can make the most amount of money. Started learning about servers. So I started going that way. And then I didn't quickly realize, I did it for several years. I was pretty successful at it. I became mid-middle managers. I was making pretty decent money at it. But then I realized that the people around it, the actual industry itself, I was not in love with. It was a different vibe.
Gotcha. I guess what didn't you like? What was it that difference about the people that was in the industry? Because I know the tech space would be different than the military space. So is that like the difference of personalities between those two, or was it the tech space within the military life?
Actually, the tech space within the military, I love. I mean, the military culture, everybody's super tight, man. I knew, by that time I got my rank pretty quickly, man. We're talking about, I came in 2002. By 2004, I was an E5, which is sergeant. By 2006, I was an E6. So I was in leadership. By 2006, I was already I was already in leadership. Not to mention, I forgot to tell you, I was also doing music at that time. I thought I was gonna be the next Timberland, Pharrell.
Nice.
I mean, I'm going deep in that. I thought,
Yeah.
you know, it was my early 20s, my 20s. I was in and out of studios. I was in nightclubs. You know, I had motorcycles. I was out and about, man. I was chilling. I was living my best life out there, man.
Gotcha. So as time went on, then you eventually met your now wife. So how did that? How did you guys meet? And you know, how soon before the family life started after that?
That was crazy. That got back from Afghanistan, '06. I went and I met my wife in '07. So I started working at Sears. I started to go back. I went back to school because I'm like, hey, the Army doesn't need me no more. Let me go back to school. I met my wife at this call center I used to work at, because I was making money from the Army. I was making money from GI Bill, and I was making money from the side job. You know, I was making money from music. Damn, now that I think about it, that's multiple streams of income right there. That was at a young age.
There you go. All right.
You know, I always figured out I need to have money coming from different directions. So I was making all this money, and so I was living. I wasn't not extravagant, but I was okay.
Right.
I met my wife, and I remember thinking of my wife. I was like, dang, she looks good.
There you go.
I remember looking at her like, dang, she was exotic, something I'd never seen before. And you know, the rest is history. We ended up falling in love. We got a place together by 2009. She got pregnant, and then we got married. And then I got married at 29th. By January 2nd, I was off to Iraq.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. That's a crazy story. Came, you know, had the baby, had to fly back to have the baby, and I left again to go back on duty. I mean, we can go deep into that, but that's
go for it. I mean, because this is the main reason. One of the reasons why I feel like this is great is because there's people that want to get into real estate, want to be an agent, want to be a broker, want to get into the life and the things that you're doing now, but they're like, how in the world is it even possible? But you've gone through it, and by you just explaining like this happened, that I had to be shipped off, then I had to come back, and then I had to do that. So by showing that process, people will be like, oh, okay, so it's possible. It's hard, but it's possible. So kind of explain.
My life in that regard, bro, it wasn't normal, man. It wasn't, you know, I don't know many people who live like that. I mean, a lot of my peers can it's very, you know, less than 1% can relate to something like that, especially being a guard member. When they think of guard, they think of nasty girl. They think, oh, you only go 1 week in a month. You don't do nothing. And, you know, I just gave you a very brief snippet of, you know, I was gone years at a time. And in between there was different duties. I had this training event that let me gone for 6 months. I had this hurricane that came through. There was a bunch of things that ended up happening. But anyways, I left to Iraq. I came, my baby had to be born. A whole drama came to fly me back to see my baby be born. I left. By the time I got back, my baby was already almost over a year old. So I wasn't there for Annalise, which is now my 11-year-old, about to be 12-year-old. I wasn't there for the early part of her life. And there was a point where I was gone maybe, you know, I remember when she was 9, I remember, man, I was gone. I've been gone almost half her life. Like between Qatar, Iraq, training. I went to DC for a year. I've done a bunch of other missions since then. So I remember thinking, man, I've been missing a lot of my kids' life, which, you know, when we're on the calls in the morning, that's why I stress, you know, being there for family, being there for kids, because early on in my kid's life, I was gone a lot. You know, it was a strain on my marriage. You know, I've been in marital counseling a handful of times, and I'm all right with saying that because, you know, marriage takes work. I told you I met my wife in 07. I'm still with her to this day. We go through ups and downs. I freaking love her. All this is before I even got into real estate. Let's be clear. And that part of the story, the crazy part about that is that that part is not isolated. You talk to anybody in real estate, they typically had a previous job or career or something. So let's talk about that. I went to college, UCF, University, and then I read, you know, the way we make decisions are funny. I just read somewhere in a magazine that said, hey, 60-something% of CEOs are finance majors. And I was like, all right, well, I want to be a CEO, so I guess I'm going to be a finance major.
There you go. Hey.
I started going to school and I got into finance and I was like, what the heck? I don't care about amortize and loans and PRT. I don't know, man. It just started talking about things that, I mean, it's pertinent now with the way I invest, but at that time I was like, ugh.
Right.
I felt like IT again, where I was around the kind of people I was around too. Like I just wasn't vibing with, and I was like, nah, man, I don't think this is my path.
Did you end up staying with finance, or did you switch to
No,
something?
so I think I had them for like semester. I did, the first your junior year where you gotta take all required prereqs before you start taking all the electives that go into your major.
Right.
I quickly realized I went to the advisor and I was like, hey, I don't like this. He's like, what's your personality type? I'm like, I want to sell. I want to own my own business. I want to be, I want to make money. And they're like, try marketing. Marketing is where, you have to reach out to people. It's where you bring in the business. And I was like, all right. I got into marketing and I mean, I immediately loved it. My brain went right to it. Like it was like, boom. Okay, got it. Excel spreadsheets. All I have to do is, this is where the market is. This is how you exploit the market. These are the things you need to do to persuade the market to all about bringing money into the business and different ways to bring in money to the business. Gotcha. And I just went right into marketing.
Gotcha. So with marketing, because that's interesting, because I didn't know you went to marketing after finance. So What have you learned from from marketing that you're incorporating into your real estate business?
Oh man, that's you know what? I really don't know, to be honest with you, because my brain has kind of been in that realm for a long time. What I do know is that real estate didn't need to be in real estate. You don't need a degree. A lot of people in real estate, all you need is 2 weeks. Take a course, and then you get the license.
Gotcha. So what got you into real estate? What was that trigger point? Because I know usually for everyone there's a different story. There's usually a defining moment or the parents or whatever. So what was that moment for you to where it's like, oh, this is the path I want to go in?
So this is a good one. So, all right. So remember I told you I got my staff sergeant in 2006. So by the time I graduated college, between all the different, I came back from Iraq, went to college for like a little spin, went to Qatar for a year on another deployment, came back 2014. That's when I graduated. So I was already making pretty decent money as a staff sergeant in the military. Like I've been making money and when I say money, I want to say 50 to 70,000 I was making. I felt like I was pretty good. And I was like, okay, well, I'm willing to take a hit. I know that I'm going to change careers because I got a marketing degree. I got a new piece of paper. When I graduated college and I started, interviewing at different places, Enterprise Rent a Car, UCF didn't have the best recruiting, to be honest with you. Some of the people they put me in front of was like Enterprise, Cintas. I graduated college and it said, hey, let's go to this Enterprise. I got an Enterprise and I saw them in like white shirts, dressed like this with a tie. They're running outside, cleaning off the front car and making sure everything's vacuumed for the next customer. And I was like, and I'm not saying like, is something wrong with that? I graduated college to do this. Like, why did I go to college to do that? It just didn't, I didn't want to do that. I was like, nah. And then the Cintas was like running around and, asking people what kind of soap dispensers they have and whatever, it was just, it wasn't the job I wanted to do. Gotcha. And then I remember talking to my wife and I was like, babe, I just started reading. I read the first book about real estate, which is Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It's by Gary Keller. It's a very famous book by a very big brand, Keller of Keller Williams. I didn't join Keller Williams, but it's Gary Keller, which is a very respected leader in our industry. And I read it, and when I tell you I read his book, man, I mean, I had a studio upstairs at my old house. I had a studio, and I just locked myself in the room every day, started taking notes. Boom, this is what I need to do. This is before I even took my exam. And I was like, and I ended up going to my wife and I was like, babe, I think I could do this. And she's like, mind you, at this point I have 3 kids, I got a mortgage. My wife isn't in her profession yet either. And we're trying to figure out, it's my income. Like, what the hell?
Right, right.
It's on me, me feeling like a man. And I was like, this is a big risk for me. And I was like, you know what? Because when I got the offer letters from the job, and I looked at it and it was like 40,000, 38,000. And I was like,
Right, right.
bruh.
Right.
I was like, nah, man, I can't do this no more. I can't do that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna join in the real estate. And then, um, good thing I had just become an officer. Oh, I was gonna come out. I had a credit card, and I put everything on the credit card in the beginning. Boom. Then we put the class on the credit card. I put all my dues on the credit card. It was like $1,800 worth of stuff I had to put on the credit card. And I just went ahead and did that. And I just started. I mean, when I tell you, when I first got in, I made that money like within the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 months in real estate. I made the money I was going to make a year at these other jobs. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah. So you made the right decision.
I made the right decision, baby. Right. I made the right decision.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. So, so now as the kids are starting to come through in the family, and you're saying, of course, military life and now being a real estate agent, and all those things are just, happening all at the same time. And for some people, each thing can consume their entire life, but you're doing all of them. So what would you say is some advice that you'll give for just how to balance all that?
How to balance all that. I don't think there's a right or wrong way on how to balance that. You just got to do it. You got to be disciplined with your time. It's the same things that we talked about on the call, Eli. At that same time, I forgot to mention a very critical piece. I was a staff sergeant. The same time I went to OCS, which is Officer Candidate School. I was already 13 years in my career, and I decided to become an officer. And that decision changed my whole trajectory, changed my mindset. People say, what's the difference between officer and enlisted? It's the mindset piece. Looking at the bigger picture, taking time out and putting your ducks in a row and being way more disciplined with my approach to things. I took it very seriously. So by the time I graduated college and I got my commission, I mean, that was a huge level up for me. That was like, loop. That was my first level up. And I was already 30. That's 30 years old, by the way.
Nice.
I just turned 30. So 30 years old, my first level up. And I knew I wasn't a millionaire yet, but my head was already like, I'm a millionaire. I don't know what it was, but it just clicked. And then, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for my wife, having a good wife, I don't think I would be able to do any of that. She was, at the same time, I gave her my GI Bill, so she became a nurse. So she was holding me down while I was holding her down. It was like some back and forths. It was a lot. And we had to manage, being with the kids. We had to do marital counseling, which taught me to understand, like, hey, I have to take my wife out on dates. My wife ain't just gonna love me.
Right.
So I gotta always work on that relationship on top of being there for my children, because before it was always focused on myself and my career. Then I had my kids need to grow too. How do I need to get them in sports. I need to get them in better educational programs. I just started leveling up all my life all together. And I just started, a little bit more selfless. I stopped going out as much. I stopped going out as much, and I started really focusing, aligning my vision with my wife. Hey, babe, this is where we want to go. This is our 5-year plan. This is our 10-year plan. This is our 20-year plan. And we started really inching away at it. And when I say inching away at it, I mean really getting after it. I don't mean just having a dream. It's a plan. I have to make this much money. I have to do this many appointments. I have to do this many deals. I have to invest this much. I have to buy this many properties. I have to, accomplish these certifications. Boom, 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 after another. And then start just getting after it one by one.
Gotcha. I love that. So one, and I know we spoke about this a lot, and you hear this from a lot of people that are successful, a lot of men that are successful in their career paths. It's along the way they were working towards something, but then you link up with the right partner, and that partner will take you to that next level and allow you to handle a lot more. And I completely agree with that. I've definitely seen the change in the things that I've been able to accomplish and the trajectory of where we're going to go now that we're teaming up together and doing things together. It's like I 100% agree, man. So that's amazing. So as far as the real estate piece of you becoming a landlord, when did you buy your first investment property?
So my first property I bought it was my first house. I bought it with the VA loan, 0% down. Back when I think the economy. I really wanted to buy I wanted to buy a house before that. I had money in the bank before that from all my deployments to be able to buy a house, but then I saw the market was like trash. So I bought my first house in 2010. Give me 1 second.
Yep.
My first property in 2010. Yep. 2010, I was in Iraq. I used the GI Bill. I don't know if you remember, but the market collapse. Oh, of course, everybody remembers the market collapse in 2008. So nobody was buying houses. There was tons of short sales on the property on the market. I didn't know what a short sale was. I remember I was gone. My wife was looking online, and she's like, "There's this thing called a short sale. It looks like the best deal. It's in this little town." I remember it was a podunk town. I remember growing up, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to live over there."
Right.
And we looked at a bunch of properties. We ended up buying this property, the property which is currently one of my rentals. I bought it, and it took like 9 months to close on it. They didn't want to leave, all types of stuff. But
Gotcha.
I got a great deal on it. I don't care.
Right. Right. Exactly.
I got a great deal on it. On top of that, it was 0% down. And at that time, they had the incentive that they were paying homeowners $8,000 for moving in because nobody was buying houses. So
Whoa.
I actually got paid to buy the house.
Was that strictly like the GI Bill military deal to get paid to move in, or was that just nationwide?
No, that was part of the stimulus at the time because people were not buying houses. Don't quote me what it was, but I remember I got a fat freaking income tax because there was an incentive, there was an extra credit on there, so I was like, hell yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That's awesome. I did not know about that one, but okay. That's awesome. So now you got your rental property, and
actually that was my actual house.
Right. Well, okay.
And
Yeah,
then,
you got your house. So how did that become your rental property?
That became my rental property because we outgrew it. My wife wanted nice, finer things, started making more money, and it was a nice starter home, starter neighborhood, and we could afford more. Right. Actually, we made a determination I came back and I got a renovation quote, and it was like 50 grand. And I was like, nah, I'm not about to spend 50 grand on an old house. I really put that down on a new house, which I did. And I got a bigger house, rented that thing out. And now it's making more than double what my mortgage is, way more than double, 2.5, almost 3 times what my mortgage is. And continues to go up because, as you know, rents within the last year have been whoop, whoop, whoop.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's the same advice I give everyone else is, if you're trying to find your first house, live in it for a little bit, move on. Especially veterans, man. I love the VA loan, 0% down. You don't pay PMI, which is primary mortgage insurance, which means you can afford more house. So, you could stretch a little bit more for the house, for a little better house.
Gotcha. Okay. And so now this was after you became an agent when you bought the house, or was this is after you became an agent or before?
No, I bought the house before.
Okay.
And then I bought this house a couple years ago.
Gotcha. All right. So you bought the property, you became an agent, and as you continued on to get other properties that you invested in, what was it like being a landlord when it came to just dealing with people that are living in houses? What is it like being a landlord, especially in a home that you may have an attachment to that you lived in before? Was it difficult to find tenants in there because you had an emotional attachment to it? Or was it just, what do the numbers say? This is how much we're going to make. It's just a house. Let me just move on.
So a little bit both on, so apartments, you just, numbers say this, I make this much on it. Let's move forward. my primary residence, same, I didn't get an attachment to it. I had to clean off all the things that all the mess my kids made. So I did like a refab, got them in there. Finding tenants was a problem. I'm close to I'm close to UCF, so I was getting tons of UCF students, and I didn't want UCF students in that property.
Gotcha.
I just don't. It's a 4-bedroom property. When you have that many students in a house, forget about it. There's no telling the condition they're going to leave it in.
Gotcha.
So okay. I was looking for, families would come through, and then I found, a military family. I'm very, biased. I like to say towards the military because I'm in the military. Uh-huh. And I thought, hey, you're in the military, it should be no problem. But, nothing's ever clean. Let's put it that way. They don't always pay you on time. There might be a little issue. Great. They were great. They've been great tenants. I'm not going to complain, but you have to work through things with tenants. For what are you going to accept the first, last, and security deposit? So in my area, if the rents here are $2,000, $2,500 a month, somebody's got to come out of pocket $7,500. Does everybody have $7,500? Right. I had to learn things like how am I going to collect my rents? Am I going to use Zelle? Am I going to use apartments.com? Am I going to use a software? Am I going to use a manager, a property manager? Granted, I'm in real estate, so it's nothing for me. I just as a real estate agent, it's like second nature. This is what we're just going to do.
So how do you collect your rent? Well, what software do you use to do that?
I'm very old school, man. When I mean I'm old school, new school. I use Zelle.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Cool.
So the first of the month, when I'm chilling, I hear bling, bling.
There you
bling,
go.
Bling. I was like,
that's a good sound. All right, awesome. So as you are an agent, I'm sure there's been some rough patches as an agent. So can you tell us about anything that, especially with the market changing? I'm sure at some point while you're doing it was a buyer's market transition to a seller's market. What were the differences that you saw and what adjustments you had to make within your business?
So that's a very good question, Eli. So I've been in 7 years and I have seen the business already change on me already. So when I first got in, the demand wasn't as high as it is now. So we had something called expired listings. I didn't know how to, when I first got in, I didn't know how to procure business. Like, how do I do this? And I started looking at videos online, like, hey, you call people who had their house listed before and you try to convince them to give you an appointment and close on them to give you the listing so you can sell the property. So I went very heavily towards start off my business with expired listings. That is, at first it was straight up. I went on something called the Red X. If you want to get real tactical, we can go real tactical with this. I went on, I found Red X. Red X pulled all the MLS data and then they went and searched for all the numbers or whatever it thought was numbers. And I was hand dialing, calling, next. Didn't know. I just knew that's how I procure business. Got my first listing like 2 months into business off of expired. And I was like, man, I'm good at I could do this. Right. I had 2 appointments. I failed at the first appointment, failed at the second appointment. By the third appointment, I got one on the hook. I was like, and of course you mess up throughout the whole process. You mess up, if you do the contracts. I mean, I can go in on expired listings, but the point was I started off with expired listings. But then as the market started to change, there's been less and less expireds on the market. And then I started going, well, what do we do now? So from expired listings to referrals I tried the FSBOs. I wasn't good at that. I bought leads. I went on Zillow.com. I've tried that. You could do that. You kind of exhaust yourself. I still buy some leads. I have programs now where I buy leads on my online on Google, but it's a hamster wheel. So now I'm currently at the shift of going online and upgrading this whole thing. This is about to be my studio. And, back when I remember everybody was like, hey, you need to bring leads to you. So they'll make a landing page and lead magnet and all through blogs and through, all that stuff. the new way is going to be through video on YouTube. I mean, I've come to the realization that if you're going to be a modern agent, that is where you need to be at. That is where all the eyeballs are at. The first thing, 67% of home buyers, the first thing they do is go on Google first. Bum, 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 bum. Google's number one. Number two is YouTube. And guess who owns both of them?
There you go. Google owns both. Yeah.
Google.
Right.
Those are the top two search engines. So as an agent, if we're not living in that space, we're non-existent. I've been in that space with others and I've had some success. That's where I'm at now with some of my marketing. But the shift has gone from, strictly cold calling. Now they're getting more strict on, the amount of calls. So you end up looking like scam likely on people's phones if you call too much, which I'm calling from my actual number. I'm an agent.
And it still showed up as scam likely.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm still showing up as scam likely, to be honest with you. I stopped doing that kind of activity with my number because I didn't want to do that.
Right.
Then on top of that, I just got tired of, I'm buying a lead, I'm calling you, and I still got to sell you again.
Gotcha.
And it might sound arrogant, at the end of the day, we still have to sell. I'm more of the line of let me provide people with value. I've been in business long enough where I know my market, and I feel very confident I know my market more than 98 to 99% of people, and that's a real number.
All right, awesome, cool. Okay, so you made the shift of mainly going a lot more online. Basically, with how things are going. So when you say online, it's mainly, are you still buying the leads from there? Or are you doing the page to where people are funneling in, or what are some of the online?
So I still do, I do Google ads. So I still have Google ads going right now where people go and search for keywords. I pay a company to do that for me because I don't have time to sit here and do that. Plus I just don't want to be bogged down with that. And then on top of that, I am, you see my content on Instagram, on Facebook. I've been doing that. That's just top of mind stuff. I do cool videos and walkthroughs and social content just to say, hey, I'm here. I'm real estating.
Gotcha.
And then the evolution where I'm going to now, and I'm going to speak it into existence because, you and I started together like back heavy on accountability group. I need you to hold me accountable that this is where I'm going to go with my business.
Gotcha.
We started the accountability group. I could barely walk. I was barely walking. I hurt myself the month before, and I got on the call so that I can go ahead and just walk not even a mile. And we started Treadmill Talk. I could barely, I had injured my back the month before at the gym. So I remember I saw you on Clubhouse and I was like, hey man, what is this thing? What is this Clubhouse thing? And you're like, oh, it's this app, blah, blah, blah. I got on it and then you were like, you're on a treadmill every morning. I'm like, yo, let's make this a thing. I need somebody to hold me accountable to get my ass out of my house and walking so that I can, I can't go and lift anymore right now because my back is hurting. I was going to therapy. I can at least get out my butt and walk so I don't get fat. So
gotcha.
That same accountability I need now with the next piece that I'm about to go into, which is going to be, the YouTube space, the video space, and really upgrading my video.
Gotcha. So with this, I guess everybody that watches this, they can hold you accountable too as you're posting, different videos. And later on, once you give your socials and everything, if they don't see nothing in the wild, like, hey, Omar, where's these new videos at? We're holding you accountable. So we'll do that. So
I would love that.
There you go. So on this part of the show, what we do is we ask 3 books that you would recommend for someone that is looking to get into real estate as an agent, as a broker, or overall leadership or work-life balance, whatever it is. Just 3 books that you're like, hey, you got to read these 3.
Well, I gave you the first one that I read, and I read again, by the way. I went back and read it again just to keep my head going because I think that the method is tried and true. Is Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It's a red book. It's the basics of being a realtor. how the activity you should be doing, the amount of touches you should be doing. It's just a real technical piece of what it is to be a realtor. Another book I could recommend to you. I love this. For leadership is concerned, this is something I give my my subordinate leaders now is leaders eat last. This is a key concept. Very key concept. Why do we eat last? Why is it important to be a leader? A lot of the attributes that have to do with a leader. And then the last one I would do, I'm going off the cusp here. Atomic Habits. I read this about last year. What I love about this book, what I absolutely love about this book is that it teaches you, and I don't want to teach you, but it gives you the concept of getting 1% better each day, each week, each month. It doesn't matter. And I use it with my kids. My daughter, she's a volleyball player. And, this is the analogy I gave her. I said, hey, you in high school, let's see, and Eli, help me. Let me see if I'm right here. See if I'm right with this analogy.
All right.
From 0 to 100, and as far as skill and professionalism, in high school, you get to about 70 to 80%. If you're talking about the top tier varsity, top tier, right. Top tier, and you might get maybe 85%, but you're not coming out of high school at 100. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not coming out of high school at a professional level at anything. So you might get really superstar. You might get to 80 to 50%, 80 to 85. Mm-hmm. By the time you go to college, you're going from 80 to about 95. So the first part of your whole entire life, up until you're about 18 years old, you're working just to be 80 to 85% competent in your sport or in, that good. The rest, you're working on little things to get you a percentage at a time better. And that's what we're working on. By the time you finish college, so you're getting D1, you become a D1 because she wants to be a D1 volleyball player. I say, hey, you could get up to 90, 95%, but that time it takes you to get from 90 to 95% could be 3-4 years. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
You're working very hard to inch away at those percentages. And then after 95%, there's very few who are that good.
Gotcha. I feel
like a LeBron. LeBron is he at 100%? He's at 98, maybe 99%.
Hey, he's 100% to me, but other people feel differently. So some people.
Okay, well, we'll say he's the 100. He's the benchmark. He's the 100%.
Right.
How many LeBrons are there though?
Yeah, none. Only one. Yeah. So those are the 3 books. And so for the people that want to reach out to you and hold you accountable, or just really see your content, just really see what you're about, or if they're in the Central Florida area and they want to purchase a home, so what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Listen, if you want to see my journey and you want to do the journey with me, absolutely. You can reach out to me on Instagram, Omar Cotto Real Estate, at Omar Cotto Real Estate on Instagram. I'll be more than happy to, hopefully we can hold each other accountable. You can DM me, you can at me at certain posts. If you're looking to do in your career, if you're looking to take the first steps in anything, I know a lot of your audience are real, wholesalers and people who are hustling at different capacities. I'm all about that. I'm doing that every day, just in the real estate agent side. I gave you a really scary thing of telling you where I'm going. That's, a lot of people don't want to do that. And I wanted you guys to hold me accountable to that. But reach out to me at Omar Cotto Real Estate on Instagram.
Gotcha. All right. Awesome. So now we're going to go into the lightning round. All right. This is why I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I just want to see how you respond and what's your answer to these here. So question number 1. All right. Would you rather be able to speak all languages fluently or be able to make any electronic device work with just your mind?
That is interesting. Make any electronic That sounds like awesomeness, but I think I would much rather speak every language fluently.
Gotcha.
My rationale behind that is I rather connect with people on a personal level than I would over technology. I think that technology is going to be here very limited time, but us as people, the way we communicate, I think that's going to be even longer time. So I think I would much rather connect with people through the language.
Gotcha. That's a great answer. All right. So next one. Would you rather be able to travel to any point in the past and then from there you could teleport back to the current moment, or skip to exactly 1 year from today's moment?
I would rather go to the past. And, it's funny. I just told you what I'm about to do in my real estate career and where I'm going. I'm always concerned with the future. And that thing could get, I made a decision to join GRTC because I saw a kid jump over a hood. You know what I mean?
Right.
That could jump any which way. And I want to continue to experience those things.
Gotcha.
But sometimes I want to see parts of the past to let me know where I'm going, because I can, especially if it's one of my past things, I really want to see that emotion when I was there, to remember that, so it can lead me to the future.
Gotcha. I love it. All right. And the last question, would you rather be able to fly, but only up to 10 miles per hour, or you'd be able to, hold on. When I tell you my handwriting is the worst handwriting in the world, man. All right. I'm going to make this up because my handwriting is terrible. All right. So would you rather be able to fly up to 10 miles an hour, or would you want to be able to hold your breath for 10 minutes?
Easy. I'd rather fly for 10 miles an hour. Anywhere I can go, I can always fly.
I guess I could have put some more restraints on there. I left that a little loose. I need to do much better at these questions.
Flying all day.
I need to do better with these questions.
I don't need a drone no more. I can just fly and take my camera and just be. I'm the new drone. Swimming. I'm not a water guy. So maybe for a water person that might be a big deal. But I'd rather be flying all day. Gotcha. I love the sky.
Gotcha. All right. I'm going to disregard that last question. That was probably one of the worst questions I've had on here. But it's all good. All right. So next, for the people that want to become a broker and just overall want to manage work-life balance and really do some of the things that you're doing, what's the first step you would say to handle all of that?
First, I had to become a broker. Well, first, you had to become an agent or become a real estate agent and a realtor. You don't have to be, they're not the same thing, by the way. And a lot of people get that confused. You can become a real estate agent and also become a broker. You don't have to become a realtor. But yes, and you have to wait 2 years and take the test, take the class, the whole nine. But the first step is really looking at, a lot of people get into real estate right now. Real estate there's an old adage, I could throw a rock and hit a realtor. A cop stopped me the other day and he asked me, hey, I need your real estate license and your registration. And I said, don't you mean my driver's license? And he goes, no, everybody doesn't have one of those. That's the old joke. Everybody has a real estate license.
Nice.
So everybody joins the real estate being like, oh, I can make quick money. They quickly say, hey, how much commission do you make? And they automatically assume that they're going to get to sell that fast. But, there's an 87% failure rate. And that's a reason. If you think that, which I know you are more than capable of, if you have the discipline to do tasks every day consistently and work at it, the first thing you do is take the real estate license, and then get in the business and just jump in, learn from others. I would, if this is specifically for real estate agents, what I did was the top people in my brokerage, I took them out to lunch. I saw I was already, remember, I was a marketing major already, so I already knew the numbers I had to look at. And the first thing I did was, my MLS, I could look up market reports, and then I can do all types of functions. Let me look at who are the top agents in my office. And I go start picking their brain. Hey, what are they doing? Start dissecting their business.
Gotcha.
Oh, this guy, and everybody does their business differently. This guy is all about the church. He's on his church, and he's like, hey, he's a church go-to guy. This girl is the PTA mom, and all the PTA parents come to her. This person is a hard charger on the phone every day. Hey, how you doing? Hey. I don't know. But you see the different versions of how people do their business, and then you'll see where you're going to go with your business.
Gotcha. I love it. And some words of wisdom that you'll give for everyone that's listening.
Words of wisdom, get better every day. I'm all about discipline. I think when you and I first talked, what was one of the first things I asked people when they started having problems? What was one of the first things I asked them?
Well, I guess, go ahead. Go ahead and respond. Well, I guess, why do you want to do this?
What time do you wake up in the morning?
Oh, it's how you wake. Yeah, true. Very true. Very true.
They start saying, well, I can't get anything done. I can't get anything. I'm like, what's the first question I ask them? Wait, what time do you wake up in the morning? And I don't know if you remember that. One of the hardest things for people, was to get up just for the call at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. They're just like, there's no way I could do this. And all of a sudden now we have 55 people in the room, and they all waking up the same early in the morning, and they didn't know they could do that.
Exactly.
So that's just one example. Mm-hmm. So the words of wisdom is discipline yourself, get better every day, focus.
Gotcha. All right. Awesome. Hey, thank you, Omar, so much for coming on. And you really gave a lot of great insight, and people got to know you a little bit more. And we look forward to having you on maybe a future episode, and you just giving us some updates on the future things that you're doing with the content, videos, and your entire journey. So I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, man, thank you for inviting me, brother. I hope I provided your listenership, yourself, some value, and I hope I wasn't boring.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, man.
All right. And don't.
Thank you for listening to the Your First Steps podcast. Let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a review. And don't forget to subscribe.